Welcome back. This is the last in our series on the 7 habits of highly effective people, and this last habit is sharpening the saw. Sharpening the saw is based on the principle of renewal. If you remember, the first 3 habits are about self-management or leading yourself. Habits 4 through 6 are about leading or influencing others. This principle undergirds habits 1 through 3 and habits 4 through 6. So this is a foundational thing that we need to consider and put into action at all times in our life. If we don't renew ourselves in this demanding and decaying world, we will atrophy. Just think about a saw, a physical saw on a tree. The more you use it, the duller it's going to get, right? So we live in a world that has demands on us, demands on our time, our energy, our resources of money and relationships, and all those things can cause us to be tired, to become frustrated, to withdraw from relationships, or to begin to get bitter and attack. And this world is also decaying, meaning even the second law of second law of thermodynamics, which is entropy, the entire universe is in a state of decay as far as energy goes. Things are not getting better. They're in a state of decay and erosion. So we need to be intentional to renew ourselves, or we will atrophy. And we need renewal in our physical, mental, spiritual, and social domains. Typically, we will think about renewing ourselves in the passion that we most exercise. If you're an intellectual, you'll think about honing your intellect by reading more, taking another class. If you're a very social person, you'll think about honing your relationship skills or renewing your relationship skills by spending more time with people who are encouraging, or less time with people who are conflicting in their personalities, or spending time with your favorite people. If you're a gym rat, you'll spend more time focusing on renewing that in nutrition or physical rest, or changing up your aerobics routine, or your other types of activities, your CrossFit or whatever. But we need to renew ourselves in every aspect, because we are interrelated beings. We are a spirit in a body for relationships, and all of those things impact each other. They impact us emotionally, they impact us throughout the day, and if we neglect one or any of them, others will be affected negatively as well. But balance is essential, because overemphasis can be as unhealthy as neglect. I just implied this in a previous statement, but I'll give it some more specific examples. If I spend 6 hours in the gym trying to manage my muscles and my weight, I'm going to neglect time with my family and friends. If I spend 60 hours at work instead of 40 to 45 or 50 or whatever it needs to be done, I'm going to neglect my physical health and my relational health. If I focus on just my friendships, I'm going to neglect my work and other things. So there has to be balance. We have to work on all of them and rest in all of them at the same time. Remember to consider an actual saw. You'll need more than motivation. You'll need the right materials. It's not enough to want to get a physical saw back in shape. You're going to need whatever it would be to sharpen that blade, some type of sharpening material that won't wear out on you immediately, something that won't tear up the saw. That might mean, metaphorically speaking, you might need the right people. You might need the right setting. You might need to schedule how you renew yourself in smart ways. You might need to think outside the box of who that might be and how they might meet your schedule. But you're going to need the right materials to sharpen your saw, to sharpen your skills, to renew yourself in all areas, because it won't happen just because you want it to happen. Remember too that the initial sharpening will be the most difficult. If you have really worn down your mind, your intellect, you're tired, or let your body go, or let your relationships go, the beginning to renew yourself is going to be the hardest part. Remember that physical saw? It's dull. It's going to take a lot of work to initially get it going. Same thing is true, metaphorically speaking. It will take more work in the beginning to renew those relationships, to renew patterns of rest, to renew initiative in work, whether it's physical or mental or emotional or any types of other types of work. But the encouraging thing, or one of the encouraging things, is the last point. Once you've done that initial work to get the saw back into proper shape, it's easier to maintain it than to regain it. And so now you've just got to maintain that momentum and that regular schedule in all of your domains. And it might sound like a lot of work, but it's a lot less work than it was when you first started to sharpen the saw. Hope that makes sense. Hope this series has been helpful to you. Tune in next time. We'll look at a completely different topic, and I hope to see you then.